Hey guys, I wanted to make a quick little video and say that I actually did not turn on the video camera to record the last presentation. It was tragic. I felt like it was good, but the good news is I did record the audio. So what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be posting the slide deck with the audio and having it match up, and that actually takes a little bit more work than importing the video and just syncing up the sound. So enjoy the presentation without me moving my hands around and everything else in it. But it's a good presentation. So it's the last one before the business plan is done, and so we are very excited about that. And so hopefully I'm going to have that posted to the website in the next couple of days. So have a great day and enjoy the presentation. Bye.
Welcome back. last one.
But it was last to last, or second to last.
No, last one of the meetings for any of the
What's that sound?
preparations. Oh, it's the projector. So,
See, it has orange.
it does.
So you don't like the business card with the orange?
No. You may have made the business cards, but I like the blue bottom border.
Like all blue instead of blue?
Like it's like a blue stripe like this with like white text, opposed to like orange. Yeah, not like outside of like October, right? Like orange is not exactly like my favorite color, but I like the blue better.
Okay.
Were you connected to the orange one?
Only because lately I've been liking orange.
Yeah. Okay. Well.
But my colors change.
I know. It's like-
What are you gonna do
Sorry,
tonight,
Micah.
Remy?
Sorry, Micah. All right. So this is the last one for planning. Technically, so the way that things operate when you make a business plan is that you start with a concept, you build the business plan, then you take action after that, based on the business plan, right? You go out and do stuff. Since we're on like an abbreviated timetable, we've kind of done a little bit of both. I've been using the presentations to make the business plan, and then I've also been using both to like construct the website and go through those different types of things. So we've actually already filed for the incorporation. Like I said, I definitely wanted to have like today be the final one and be like, boom, business plan, right? I did get one thing done, the independent contractor agreement. Yay. I know, looks nice. It is.
It's a lot of pages.
Yeah, it's 8 pages, and I probably.
Front to back?
Yeah, no. I probably need to throw in a thing in here about background checks as well. That might just be something. But like, we won't have this on our web page. What we'll have is an application, and on that application we'll probably say that they need to go for like a background check, right? Like, by agreeing to this like application, then you agree that you'll do a background check and, you know, go for a drug screening and stuff like that. And then after that, then we would have them sign the independent contractor agreement. So everybody who starts with our school will have to sign an independent contractor agreement except for volunteers, and then they'll sign an independent contractor agreement, except it'll be an independent volunteer agreement. So like, but it's a contract that they're signing, and basically it outlines all the expectations and everything that we have. So you're more than welcome to kind of look through it about like what we're trying to do. And it is in our style. So of the list of like 8 things that we had, I did manage to get done 3. But like the other ones are mostly done. So as for, you know, hitting the ground running as soon as we're done with the business plan here, we've already started running, so that's awesome. You know, we just need a few things. One being that we want the incorporation papers to come through, and then 2, we need the sale of my house to be able to fund the initial startups for the things that we need to do moving forward. But once the paperwork comes in, then we can become a 503C, 501(c), C3. It's too many stormtroopers roaming around today. And our solicitation license, and so that we can go and start meeting with different groups. So the next meetings that we will have after this are not presentation based. What they'll be is that they'll be meeting with different professionals that we're able to bring in to talk to. And so the next one, group meeting, will be with Charles. And then we're going to start building names of different people that we need to reach out to, and also a database of possible businesses that would be collaborative businesses to work with us, and then start sending them the materials that we're constructing, that we're marketing, our marketing materials, so that we can send them information about us, hopefully get them on board, help them see that they should be sustainers for us and what benefit that brings into play. So this is it for developing our plan. Our plan is used to have all the marketing materials so that we can then say, if we go over to self-help or any bank, we can say, this is our business plan, these are our board members, this is our agreements, this is our marketing material, this is what we're looking to do, this is our current funding, this is what we would like to do. And then hopefully, they'll give us an agreement for every $1 we raise, they'll loan us $3 or something like that. And that would be awesome. That'd be great. So, and then we would just basically roam around and raise money and try to get stuff started. But today we're going over market analysis and differentiated advantages and pricing. So these are filling in a few of the gaps for what we're doing for who we're marketing to. So with our market analysis, welcome to Wake County. It is growing rapidly at 67 people per day. 20 people of that are born here, and 47 are moving to the area. And this is the U.S. Census Bureau. I got the nice charts from the Wake County Economic Development website. And so of those people that are moving to this area, right, Raleigh, Durham, Raleigh, Wake County, City of Raleigh, you can see that from 2001 to 2018, it's gone up substantially. I would probably say 50% for each one of these different categories, for each one of these different areas. Now, what's really great about this is that most of the people that are moving here are not elderly people looking to retire. They're young people looking to start families here. There's a lot of professional individuals who are coming to the area to, work at IBM, the, Red Hat, all the same now. Here at SAS, in the RTP, there's a lot of different businesses that are growing, a lot of banking and everything else, really appealing to younger people who are looking to start families, which is why we have such a high birth rate at 20 kids per day. So that's 600 every month. And so that means that that's why we have such a school overcrowding problem in the area. And that's also why I'm not really going to go into what type of people are going to want to come to our school, because all the private schools, the people who would want to come to our schools, have lotteries and have waiting lists. So they're there, right? And we also see this wave of more kids coming to the area than public schools can serve, than private schools can serve. And I don't think that they have as aggressive a growth, outlook as we do. We're looking to have small schools, but modularize them, right? So right here, you can see job growth comparison, right? In the United States, in North Carolina, right, job growth is greater than the United States as a whole, but look at the area, right? The city of Raleigh at 43%. I mean, good gracious. Raleigh, Wake County, Raleigh, Durham, Chapel Hill, all of them way outpacing the national average or North Carolina average. And so these are working professionals, and our hours and our model is really catered to them. So, this is a market that is completely unserved, right? If you're a working professional, the best that you can hope is that your job gives you enough flexibility to where you and your spouse can work around school, right? But this gives the opportunity for those young professionals to both be working professionals, right? And have a career and have family and be happy about that. So, differentiated advantage, right? These are the different private schools. So we kind of group them all into categories here. So there's some schools that charge $600 a month for private school, and other ones that go all the way to $2,000 a month, right? Now, I haven't seen any of them cover school supplies. None of them are truly year-round. Most of them are off for summers, and they have track outs. Hours generally are 7 till 3. Some offer after-school care, but it's usually at an extra cost. Food, you pack it or you buy it, right? Homework varies on school. So one of our biggest competitors would be Thales. Theirs is about like $600 a month for different things, but then it goes up to $700 with everything that you need to buy. Do they also have aftercare? Yes, they do. But do they also do a lot of homework? Yes, they do a lot of homework. Right. Yes, ma'am.
That classroom looks a lot like the classrooms in Romania when I grew up.
I got this picture from the closet. No, I'm just kidding. Here's the Oh, right here?
Yeah. That was me.
I saw you with the short haircut, so. All right. So, charter schools. So charter schools basically receive money from the government. They have a different mission than a public school. So they receive money from the government, but they still have to submit to all the testing and everything else. So they're on the same timetable. They just have some differentiation in culture and in offerings and where they spend money and stuff like that. So these are pretty popular around here because they're free for the tuition. School supplies, you still have to buy them. Off summers, track outs, hours 7 to 3, options for aftercare, most at a cost. If you get up to middle school, some of the options that they have are those different after-school programs that they have. So, kids can stay there for free for those, but they have to be involved. They're not all week and everything else. The same is true with sports, but then if you're in sports, you got a lot of different costs in there that wasn't there before. Food, option to buy, and homework, it varies on schools. So some of these charter schools are trying to push for no homework, but it's a mixed bag for their success rate on that. Public schools, free. Supplies, as needed.
Is that something new, the school supplies needing to be purchased by parents?
Nah, that's always been there.
It's always been there.
Yeah, so at the beginning of every year, so if August were to go to kindergarten for the public schools, then they would give us a list of things that they need. And he would need crayons, he'd need a backpack, he'd need binders, papers. If he had to pick up a specific planner, they'd tell you where to go pick that up. Yep, pens,
Even
resources.
When you were growing up?
Mm-hmm.
Really?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
That was not my experience at all.
Yeah. So, so they, North Carolina schools are not exactly as funded. Now, a lot of teachers.
North Carolina then?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay.
Now, a lot of teachers will go out and buy more stuff for their classes. This, that I think is crazy. But they don't get paid much. Teachers' assistants do the same thing. They get paid maybe anywhere from $10 to $20 an hour, and they go out and they buy their kids school supplies and stuff like that, based on need. Options to buy food. Now there are some programs for people who are underserved to have free breakfasts. And I don't remember what that's called. That program called. I think it's CHIP or something like that, but that might be healthcare. but they have like free breakfasts that are there. The only downside is that is like culturally it's weird because the people who are in the schools look down on the people who get a free lunch or a free breakfast, which is kind of sad. Homework, we know that they're trying to do less, but like it varies on teacher, not on the school. Like they just can't kick the habit. They just they got to do it. It's the only way for them to keep up with everything. Homeschool, free as well, right? School supplies, well, they got to buy everything. They got to buy every book, everything. Open dates, they are truly year-round, so that's a plus, right? Hours depend on the family, right? You have the conviction to stick with that. Food, same cost as everything else. Homework, everything is homework. So the downside of this, okay, is like cost and like socialization. But now, the Atlantis education system, $700. So we're just slightly over the very lowest, right? But school supplies are provided. We're truly around. 4 weeks of flex vacations used at the choice of students' parents. Hours 8 to 6, Monday through Friday, with flexible drop-off. Core hours 10 to 3, right? But we can adjust to any individual learner. Goal of 5-day flex, open 7 days a week, which means that if the school is open 7 days a week and you have a surgeon who works on the weekends but they're off Tuesdays and Thursdays, then what we want is we want the kids to be able to stay home Tuesdays and Thursdays and come to school Saturdays and Sundays. That's not something we are able to do in the beginning, but it's our eventual goal to get there so that we can really cater to everybody. And then food provided all day, fruits and vegetables, right? And then homework, no homework, everything is kept in school. So these things, right? Now my goal was to make that $700 competitive with public schools. With all these options that had things for free, right? Like I wanted it to be competitive. And I was debating how, right? And I talked about this before, right? Because this was kind of the linchpin that said, okay, they got rid of the last $100 that I couldn't account for, and where public schools, charter schools, and homeschool, right, couldn't necessarily compete, right? When you go with the Atlantis education system, what happens is for every 3 years you put in, you get a year off because of our timetables and how we're in school year round, right? That stability, we believe, has compound interest on our kids' learning. But if we were to just take out like the advantage of like that compound interest and not having to adjust every year and get to know new teachers, and everything else, then it would still equate to 51 extra days of school in a year. So every 3 years, right, we would be right on the door of a full school year, right? And so in 3rd grade, our kids would be in 4th grade if everything else was held the same. Then in 6th grade, they'd be in 8th grade. In 9th grade, they'd be in 12th grade. In 12th grade, they'd be in 16th grade, which would be a bachelor's degree. Now, if you go with any of these except for homeschool, because the homeschoolers can push their kids about as fast as they want to, which is why oftentimes they do well on tests, right, and everything else. It's just socialization that's kind of strange, right? So all of these, you are exactly where you are. Now, you have the option to move ahead in public school and everything else, but you got to be driven. You got to have resources, right? And it's not that you're going to be able to move further than your class in math. Like, you're limited. If you want to move ahead, you got to skip grades. So once again, it really hits on that socialization. But if we can say, if you start kindergarten or 1st grade with us, right, that we're going for that bachelor's degree, right, then the cost starts getting pretty interesting, right? So when we look at the Atlantis education system and all these things that are included, food, after-school care, summer supplies, summer track out, or school supplies, and then the college, right, we're trying to get it down to 0. And we come over here and we say, okay, $200 for food, $200 for aftercare, which can be $200 to $400. So I went with the most conservative numbers possible. School supplies per year is just $100. Summer track out $0 to $4,000. Now, with kids who are in elementary school, like, you have to have some type of babysitting, so that cost comes at something. But I'm going to drop it, right? Because, who knows? Maybe you can go have them go stay with your grandmother or your, friend or whatever. So if we were to break it down, in the end, the public education system can cost $410 a month, bare minimum. No track outs, right? Base school supplies, right? No saving for college.
Broke that out over a per month basis over
Yep.
12 years.
Yeah,
15 years.
for every month, right, in public school, right? 410. If you don't save for college, you don't use track out, like zero. So they're just hanging around the house, right? Bare minimum school supplies, $200 for aftercare, right? Somehow they swung that, right? And I'm saying that if we were to say, like, a parent works for $5 an hour every night, in considering, right, that, okay, then it would be around $200, right, a month. And then food, because you got to buy food, right? Unless you're on public assistance, right? Still going to have to buy some level of food. In the end, right, it can cost you around $410 to about $943 a month, not including setting up your student for college. Right? So that was right there in that middle. If you average the two out, right, it gets right above like 600 and some. But, right, college could be somewhere between 20,000 and 200,000 by the time your student goes to college. So so that is where you get that $1,300 per month. If your kid is going to school and it was $200,000, right, then how much would you need to save over 12 years, right? It would be $1,300 a month.
Okay.
You're right?
I haven't done that.
No.
Thanks.
Sorry. Hopefully they'll get scholarships. Dang it, don't clap. Hopefully they'll get scholarships and some other things in here, right? And if for me, right, if my kid didn't go to the Atlanta school system, right, then what would happen is that I would pay for a tutor to come in at the end of the day, right, and help out, right, keep them moving ahead. I'd get them on the track. Now the downside is that they'd be going to school and they would not like school, right, probably. They may like it some, they may like recess, they may like lunch, they may like a class, their favorite class may be science, right? But what's the likelihood that over time they dislike learning? Really good.
Really?
Very good. And then that's stymies them. Now, can I push August to get to knock out college? Can I incentivize it enough? One of the things that I said before I even had the idea of the school was I was going to talk to August and say, for every year you knock off school, I will give you $50,000. So you could graduate with a bachelor's degree, right? And you could have enough money to go pay for a master's degree, right? And still have money in your pocket, right? If you wanted to, right? But I would be willing to do that, right? I'm going to incentivize that. And so I saved in that property, right? So I had like that chunk of change from that property. Then I opened up a savings account for August, right? And I was going to give the same amount every month. So I've been saving about $1,000 a month for the last 5 years, right? And so now I'm like, well, if I put it in the school, not only do I help August, maybe I can help a bunch of people and do the love of learning and set up a lot of people to enjoy learning, right? Because I believe that there's power in education. Knowledge is power, right? How we get our kids more powerful for the future, right, is by giving them opportunities to love learning, because then they embrace their own power. They seek out that knowledge. They own their own power, right? And we can make that happen. Now, how much would that be worth? Well, to me, that's infinite, because that says that he can go and solve all of his own problems. He's going to be set up for success, right? Like they say in church, right? Don't give a man a fish, teach him to fish. But are we teaching that level of learning? Maybe some teachers are, but not the whole school system, right? So for this, then wait a minute, we just could knock out that amount, right? Then that means we're blowing it out of the water, right? And, right, what are we also getting? The unmeasurables. We save on stress. I get to still have a relationship with my son that's not based around school or school sports. Life preparation, right, where they know how to do their own laundry. Job training, right, where they get experience in a job so that they're not hitting that same problem that most kids have. I got a 4-year degree, but I have no experience, so no one will hire me, right? We're going to get rid of that. Relationship building. Socialization is at the center of our school, right? What's the value of that? It's unmeasurable, right? We could just say, like, my son has good EQ, right? And that love of learning, right? Then that sets him up for continuous progress forever, right? Then, over here, the unmeasurable costs are stress, relationship alienation, constant adjustment every year. Every year that I had to go to school, I was always like, Mom, my stomach hurts. She's like, you got to go the first day. And I was like, I can't. I'm done. She was like, go out to the garage, grab a bucket, and you'll be fine. I never grabbed the bucket, but I was very unhappy every year. And probable dislike of learning. I didn't like learning. I didn't like learning until I went to college. Right? Now, pricing. So we're going to go in a different direction than a lot of schools and a lot of businesses. Right? We have to be open and transparent with the board, but not everybody's going to join our board. So I want to be open and transparent with everybody. Right? So when somebody raises the price on me somewhere, I usually don't care too awfully much, right? If it's a good company, right? Netflix raises my rates, I'm all right with that, right? Amazon raises my rates, I'm okay with that, right? To a point. But I also want to know, if you're raising the rates on me, right, why? If you tell me that you're paying your employees a little bit more, I'm usually 100% for it, right? If it's for, more dividends or stock buybacks, then I'd probably be like, I kind of am against that, right? But that's why they don't disclose that. Well, we're a nonprofit, right? And so we're going to have to disclose different things, right, about where our money's going, of course, but we don't want people to have to dig to get it. So we want our stakeholders to know where their money is going, right? Complete accountability. So with the business contributions and with what parents are giving in tuition, right? This is the breakdown, right, of where parents go to. Now, it's kind of like half of where the money is really going to for like food and everything else, right? If we do $200 per kid for a 5-kid startup, right, then parents are really giving $82.35, right? Because the businesses give more money than the parents, right? So the businesses are giving that other amount, right? They're filling in this blank. They're giving the extra $118 for food per kid per month, right? So this is what the parents see. What the businesses see is where their money goes. Now, do we want them to have some control of where the money goes? Sure. If a business is an internet company and they want to take care of the internet for every kid, right? Sure. Then that shifts that cost. They then take on more of that. And then the food budget might go up, right? Because then parents are taking on more. It's the same. It's just which cup it's in is different. But then we can say, hey, the school's internet is provided by, right, Jerry's gas station, right? We want you to have access to the internet, right? Jerry's Gas. It's a plug for Jerry's Gas. There isn't a Jerry's Gas, but, so that we can see where it's all going, right? And as the money grows, as our students grow, right? When we have 40 kids, right? Then you see that business contributions are actually less in this scenario because these are the businesses that I can count on, right? Then what happens is the amount of money that the parents contribute to each thing goes down, right? So that you can see how that's going to different places. So you can see that for every student, right, that's here, $142.30 goes to the teacher for every student that's there, right? And the businesses also contribute to the teacher's salary as well, So you know where that money's going to, right? Now we're going to try to keep it at $700 every month, but inflation and different things like that, there may be a time where we might have to raise our rates to some degree. Or if we have something that we really are working toward, that we believe in, that's going to propel our kids further forward, right? Now that would have to be approved by the board, but we need to go that extra step and convince parents, right, that it's a worthy cause and that their money is going to go to exactly, right, what we say it's going to go to. Unlike, right, government and tolls, right? Now my opinion is every toll road should have the amount, right, that we agreed to put the toll in for, right? How much did this road cost? And every time a car drives under it, right, that number should go down the corresponding amount until it's zero, and then that toll should leave. Should be gone. Right? Mm-hmm. Right? That's the exact right response, because it ain't ever going to happen. Right? But if you want to win office in North Carolina, just take out the tolls. Right? But we're not going to be that way. Right? We're going to go in the other direction, and we're going to say, if there's something that we're funding, here's the start, here's the stop, here's what we're working toward. Okay, so these are our next steps. We still got to receive incorporation documents. Fill in the external website and provide presentation content for those, which is no big deal. Just kind of putting those in. I'm probably about like 80% done with the website. Create forms. Create databases that go along with them. I am working on that right now, so I'm going to go with Google. The business plan is also about 90% done, so I just need to take the stuff from the presentations and put it in, so that's good. And I have gone through most of these documents, but after I went through, I realized that I had been putting the wrong footer in for each one, so I got to go back and put the right footer in. Yep. And then I'm going to probably get Nicole and Lindsay to work on flyers and our email campaign. Now, we did order the business cards because they weren't that expensive, and we haven't sold our other house yet. So as soon as that's sold, then we're going to be fully funded to be able to get anything that we need to start starting up. That's why I'm going to hold off on launching the website until, that's there. That corporation has its own credit card, and then that way we can have the spending confined to that and make it really easy for Vicki to track it.
These flyers and email campaign, is that for prospective students, for the prospective?
I think for right now, right, we're going to first target them toward businesses.
Okay.
That would be my preference. That's a great question. Because I feel like the more students that we have committed, right, the more bargaining power we have with local businesses. But gathering funding, I really feel like that might be a question that is answered after we go to a bank. So I'm going to go to self-help as soon as we get the incorporation documents up and going. I'm going to set up a meeting with them right away and go over there and talk to them about what strategy, right? Because they've helped a lot of charter schools get up and running around here. So, depending on what they say is the best strategy for us, we'll go with it. My personal feeling is that I feel that we should probably be more business centered in our marketing at first, right? And let word of mouth be more of our campaign with our prospective students, and drive them to our website instead of developing more content for them. Now, in the end, I would love to have a flyer for kids, right? So that they want to come to our school. I would like to then have a flyer for parents to address parent concerns. I would like to have, or trifold, right? I would like to have all that stuff kind of linked back to our website. But in the beginning, if we leaned on our website, I think it would be okay, right? I would want to, my bigger concern is I definitely want to gain as much business support and community support as we can. because that opens up a lot more opportunities for us in terms of funding and in terms of opportunities for our kids. Because with 5 kids needed to start up the school, that's an incredibly low bar, right? Incredibly low bar. So, but how many businesses can we get to support our school? I recently saw that Google was wanting to support more technology in schools, and they were having a hard time, right? I know.
Really?
Yeah. Because technology has become like an evil term. And I realize that I've been fighting the word technology here for a little bit and trying to say, like, technology is a lot of things, right? I even thought about bringing in here my vendor graph machine, my Jacob's ladder, right? And stuff like that, and say, these are all technology, and this is all technology. But when people think of technology, they think of cell phones, and they don't want cell phones in the class. And we don't want cell phones in the class. But instead of having the debate on what the word technology means, then I think that we should go in a different direction, and that direction should be to say, okay, I'm not going to debate what technology is, but we're going to use some different terms about what we're trying to do, because I don't want to get into that debate. And we're early enough in our development to where we can shift, and the website isn't posted yet. So I'm hoping that we can talk to Google and we can talk to these technology companies and say, we want to have technology in our school. It's not cell phones. What we want to do is we want to paint the image of a science museum, right? We want to say that we're fun and interactive, and that technology looks more like this, right, than it does a cell phone, right? We want to say that we want to have kids who have iPads taking pictures of stuff, and that it's routed through the Wi-Fi, right? Not through a network that we don't have control over, right? We want to help re-image how technology can be used in the schools, but we can't be using the word technology because people just think of cell phones, right? But the reality is, right, technology is all of this. It's robotics. It's like it's computers researching things, not just a cell phone that somebody is texting on, right? You can't do that on our tablets, right? You can't, but we can control it, right? So for us, right, like, we're just going to give up on that word, right? And we're going to say, okay, we can't change how people associate with that word, right? But what we can do is we can say, we are hands-on science and innovation school, right? We're STEAM, right? But we're going to get rid of that idea of technology, and we're going to do a lot more of science and innovation, right? So we want to paint the picture, right? See, that's a screen right there, but what's he doing? He's racing against football players or the mascot, right?
Hey, that's the Philly mascot.
Yeah, right? This is technology. What we want to say is, like, our kids are going to be going to school in a science museum, but not a science museum that somebody else built for them. They're going to be going to a science museum that they build for themselves with the things that they're interested in, right?
It's in Philadelphia, wasn't it?
Yep. So we're going to make it different, right? We're going to make it different. So when people say, like, does your school have technology? No. Right? It's actually a hands-on science and innovation school. Ooh, fancy. So what's their stance on cell phones? Don't have them. They can't bring them in. They're not allowed. Great. What's their stance on using technology for homework? Don't have to worry about it. No homework.
We don't like that either.
Yeah. We don't believe in it.
Every time.
Right? All right, great. What's their hours? Right? We've gotten past that debate. I don't want to have that debate, right? Because my view of technology is like, technology is science, right? It is innovation. And so it's a distraction. It's a bad distraction because it's undermining us, and I'm going to say, okay, right? If it's undermining us, I'm going to walk away from it. Now, I made a nice little video, and it was awesome, right? 15-minute video on technology. I with the green screen and all, and I will walk away from it, right? But I walk away going, okay, we're going to go science and innovation because our goal, right, is to get people interested. And I don't know if you saw this kid watching this ball, right, that goes around, but he was like losing his mind, right? This kid right here, when there was the balls going around, he's like, watch him. Like, he's like, what? He got, yeah, no, he's the entire time. What is this? Right? Like, we want that. We want that engagement. That right there is a love of learning. That's what we're going for. So if we have to abandon a word, I don't care, right? We'll go with the love of learning because science and innovation is what matters, and let's get to the heart of it, right? And so when our kids go to our school, right, since we're the parents, we get to cultivate that, right? My belief is that it will propel them forward and make them lifelong learners, which will ultimately make them powerful throughout life, right? We're not going to have helpless kids. They're going to know how to research things. They're going to be interested in it, and they're going to be like, yeah, I need to figure out something. No big deal. I've been doing that all my life, right? What we're doing right now is we're having kids in school, which the teachers are preaching to them what they already know, and then kids have to get accustomed to just asking just the teacher or a textbook, right? And they're like, these are the two sources of information. What's your cell phone for? Texting, right? But for us, like, hey, we're going to teach how you utilize these different things to find the right answer, right? So we're now going to be selling more of a science museum mindset. Now, Explore Us Downtown has a school that's associated with it, so they already have like a science museum kind of attached to it, right? Pretty expensive deal, right, to be down there and everything else. So the cost is very prohibitory. And they don't take on the same approach that we do. They don't put families first and everything else. But we're also talking about not building a science museum for our kids. We're talking about our kids actually building a science museum, right? That's how they learn. That's how they do hands-on, which also means for our pricing, right? If a kid wanted to have a 3D printer, right, to build something, they had some idea, then what we would do is we would reach out to our business partners and say, we have a kid this is their proposal. This is what they would like to do. Do you want to sponsor this kid, right? And then we will put your name on that 3D printer, right, and make sure to thank you as we're posting videos about building it. We're not going to get a 3D printer that's already put together, right? Got to build it, just like Legos, right? Got to test it out, got to learn about it, got to be safe, right? When you're building stuff, like, you know, making content so that school can use that, right? Make it engaging. So we are now a science and innovation school. Okay?
Okay.
So our message has changed. All right. Any questions? I'm going to stick with question. You can only have one. Yeah.
One per meeting, right?
Yeah, one per meeting.
I'll have one more next week.
Cool. One at a time. All right. So that is it.
What about math and reading?
We don't do that at school, right?
Yeah.
It's not
No.
It's science and innovation. That's it.
We speak. We speak and we do images. All right. So, bye. This is the last one. Marketing feedback. I'm going to start posting more stuff. I'm going to post this video, but I'm going to probably post more content like next week to that same web page. So the video is going to be posted, but I want to go ahead and post the full business plan so that anybody can read over it, make some edits, change it, right? Send it back to me, and then make those updates as we go along. So I don't want to like post a 90% done business plan. So I will post this video, and then that will be it. And then the next one we do is meeting with Charles, and then setting up other professional meetings so that we can start, getting their feedback, so that we make sure that we don't like trip over some hole that we weren't aware of before. Good news is we have November, December, January, February, March, April, May, right? So 7 months before when we want a soft launch, right? And our kids are actually still in SAS daycare until August, so if we have to, right? Then we got June, July, and then August. So we got 10 months, right, to get something done. Now, on everything I read, it took 2 years to open up a school, and 18 months of that was doing what we've already taken care of. We've already done. So that means they say it's going to take 6 months. We've got 10. We're ahead of the curve, but I'm not going to let off on this at all. I'm just going to continue to plow ahead and continue to get that stuff up there. Our website is definitely a lot different than other ones out there. We want to definitely generate some interest and start building from there and start recruiting and work ahead. I would love to soft launch in May, have a good teacher, set our primary curriculum with branches so that kids can individuate and everything else. So that's our deal. Okay. All right. Well, thank you guys. Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you, and I will post this tomorrow. That's not going to stop the video. Guys.
It did not record.
No.
Are you serious?
Yes. All right.
Now it's a podcast.
Yeah.
Now it's a podcast.
Yeah.
Now it's a podcast.